Today I'm going to go over 5 things I wish I knew before playing R6 Siege. So let's go. So the first thing I want to show you is what to do with a bad castle. Now, a bad castle is usually on your team and is not you, especially after you watch this video. And a bad castle is somebody who literally castles the doors that your team and you need to use for just getting around the map. So rotations, in other words. So a very bad castle would put a castle wall here, for example. Hopefully my teammates don't get mad at me right now, because you have the B side here and you have the A side over there, and you're literally stopping your team from getting from one part of the site to the other. And it's the exact same thing if you are blocking main entrances, because if you block an entrance like this, sure, your opponent will have trouble getting in and you'll block your opponent, but you're pretty much guaranteeing your opponent's safety. Your opponent will feel safe that they have a big wall here or a big door and they can't be seen. And then if your teammates are trying to rotate back into the site when pretty much the bomb is planted, then you're literally going to stop your teammate from being able to rotate in. And it's just horrible for your teammates and for yourself. So don't be a bad castle. If you want to be a good castle, just change the windows mostly. Don't worry about doors too much. You can kind of learn which windows to castle as well as you play the game. It takes a bit of practice, and once you get it, you will be better with this character who has a really good gun and a really good loadout in general. So you definitely want to try your best to get a bit better with castle, and be patient with bad castles as well, because bad castles don't know any better. They haven't watched an MC video before, so they won't know the ins and outs of using this operator. The next thing I'm going to show you is do not reinforce in between sites. It's the first thing that you're going to do that's just going to get yourself in trouble in this game. So this is a perfect example. We have A site here and we have B site here. We want to be able to move in between the sites easily. And if somebody is stupid enough to reinforce this wall and or this wall, then it's going to stop that rotation. So if you see that there is a wall that is broken or can be broken in between sites, just make that rotation available for you and for your teammates. You can reinforce the walls that are facing out away from the site. And in some rare cases, you want to keep those free as well, but you'll get to know those as you play the game and you learn the maps. Now, if you see somebody, once again, reinforcing between sites, don't shoot them or anything. Be nice. They just aren't aware of this fact, especially if you're brand new to the game. And another thing that I recommend you do is, just because you want to leave one gap for rotations like this doesn't mean you can't reinforce this wall or this wall. Like this wall, for example, is perfect for a little bit of extra cover while you're rotating. Now, that doesn't mean you should waste reinforcements on these situations, but just in case you're wondering, you can do a bit of reinforcement as long as you leave a gap. So the next thing I would recommend that you get good at in this game is spawn peeks, and I'm talking about defending against spawn peeks. Usually when I'm on my starter drone, I will often use my starter drone to spawn peeks early. So if the opponent was to make like a bit of a gap here and be ready for you, pretty much advanced players or people with lots of knowledge will try and use spawn peeks to their advantage, and you need to try and counter that by having map knowledge. And as you're approaching from the spawn point, you want to try and have a look at the windows. Make sure that there's nobody peeking out the window ready for you. If I wasn't ready for this, for example, and if I didn't know that door was there, I'm just going to run straight forward and bang, bang, I'm dead. So make sure you keep an eye out for spawn peeks. As I said, just have a look around for all the different windows. Unfortunately, for this example, there's only one window really that I need to watch out for, and it's a door. But yeah, just keep an eye out for the doors and make sure that nobody is trying to spawn peek you. So my next tip is kind of timing based. Now, you don't have to put this as a fast rule, but people like to rush in this game. And what I like to do is I like to make it so that I am getting as much intel as I can before we get to 1 minute on the clock. So that gives you loads of time to drones. So throw out a drone and have a look around, see where the opponent is, see if there's any sneaky opponents waiting for you. There's one right there, for example. And then when there's about 1 minute on the clock, that's when you should start trying to push towards getting the objective. Hopefully you have enough intel as you possibly can. And honestly, just try and start pushing. If people are trying to rush you, when you have 30 seconds left to get to a site, you don't have to panic, because all you have to do is get to the site within the last 5 seconds in order to plant the diffuser. So the next thing I want to show you is how to set up your weapons and equipment in this game. You pretty much go into your operators, go to attackers, go to Ash, and then go to your loadout. And then you need to pick your weapons. So you can either pick the G36C or the OR4C, whichever one you're in the mood to use. A lot of people recommend the OR4C. So let's get this one set up. So you click on the weapon and then you click on reflex, and you are pretty much trying to choose your favorite one. Now you can go for the basic hollow red dots, or you can go for the holographic, which I do. And I would highly recommend go for Holo B. It's my favorite one. And you can use the magnified if you want to have better zoom. But as a new player, I'd highly recommend just trying out the basic ones first. So try out the Holo B, try and just click back. Then you want to go to barrels. And then you want to just hover over each of them. Where you are supposed to be looking on the screen is down here, recoil pattern. And if you look at the flash hider, the horizontal movement of this gun is quite high, and it also goes up very quickly as well. So it recoils upwards and to the right. In reality, when you're actually using the weapon in the game, you're going to find it's very easy to control in comparison to other guns in this game. So you have the flash hider here, and that's the pattern down at the bottom right. And then if you go to compensator, which reduces horizontal movement, the gun will no longer hit to the right and it'll just go upwards. Now, I actually think that this is tighter than a flash hider for this gun. So in my opinion, I would go for the compensator and try it out. And then you can have the muzzle brake, which reduces the overall weapon kick of a single shot. So that's not useful for a gun that's going to do automatic attack. And then suppressor is going to have your recoil all over the place. So don't use the suppressor in this gun or with this gun. And extended barrel as well is going to have you all over the place. This is the extended barrel is good for damage, and that damage is going to be good for more advanced players. But I think you can stay with the 39 damage here with the compensator. As I said, use the flash hider, use the compensator, see which one you prefer. I prefer the compensator on this. So we're going to go back. We have the Holo B, we have the compensator, and pretty much every single gun I use the vertical grip, because recoil pattern, again, the recoil pattern with the vertical grip is just so much better than if you're using angled grip or if you're using the horizontal grip. And the angle grip reduces the time to reload a weapon, which is great and everything, but just take out your pistol instead and just use the vertical grip on every weapon. You can mix and match as you get more experience with the game, but at the beginning, just stick with the vertical grip. Then you have underbarrel, and most guns will only come with a laser. I wouldn't recommend lasers, especially as a new player. You're just going to tell your opponent where you are. Just start off with no underbarrel for a long time until you get really used to it. And then, of course, you could do your visual customization. If you have a black ice, for example, you can equip that. This is a very nice looking skin. Actually, I'm going to use that with the Arctic. The Arctic for attachments is always very nice, so I'd recommend that. And let's get rid of this as well. Let's change that too. So when you're happy with your loadout, you press back, and then you have to press spacebar to equip the gun. And you do the exact same thing with your pistol and your gadget. So your pistol, go in. For your barrel, I'd recommend using the muzzle brake for pistols, unless you want to stay quiet. Muzzle brake is generally the best way to do it though. Just it helps your pistol not have too much recoil. I don't recommend lasers for pistols either. And I have a black eyes for this one, and I have Arctic as well. So it's very nice. Then for your gadgets, it's up to you what to decide. For brand new players, I'd recommend using the breach charge just so you can get through walls quicker. I mean, Ash has a natural breach charge in her gun anyway, So I suppose you won't need a breach charge for very long with her. But claymores, you kind of have to know where to put them if you want to use them properly. And if you are not very experienced with the game, you're not going to know where to put them anyway. So just go with the gadget breach charge temporarily. And that is how you load out your gun, your character. So thank you very much for watching today's video. Let me know what you think of it, and let me know how you get on with your OR6 as you play. Best of luck, and I'll see you again in the next one.